Well, what you see there, the closest piece of equipment out there is that 2-bottom John Deere trip plow that I brought home a few days ago. That was in that last video. It had rubber tires on it. As you can tell, the rubber tires are not on it. Peeled those off, and they're sitting there waiting to be disposed of. But this video is not so much about that plow. If you pay attention, you might see it behind a old International tractor. It's up on slings in front of the skid loader. You might see it sitting back there, but this video is about a fella I know does exporting. He ships tractors and hit-and-miss engines and cars, you know, Corvettes and Vipers and you name it, and he ships it. He exports this stuff over to Europe and I guess Eastern Europe, and I don't know if parts of it are in Asia. I'm not real good with geography, but who would have ever thought that a feller from, you know, the heartland here would be doing some kind of worldly things like that. But anyhow, I knew he always did this exporting stuff, but I never really knew kind of how he did it logistically. So I got that plow off of him. I got some parts for my other plow off of him, and he said he was going to be loading up a container, and so I wanted to see how he packed all this stuff into these containers and stuff. So this load was a small one. He does some where he'll pack stuff in there so tight, I mean, you can't believe how much stuff he can get into a container and safely pack it to where it gets there in good shape. It's kind of amazing to see some of the photos. So I wanted to be there to see how he packed these things in a container. This was an easy load. He said, sure, you can come on over, and I tried to help a little bit, but I think I was in the way more than anything. So anyhow, these are going to be some little video clips of how he puts these things into a container and straps them down. And I couldn't tell you all the details about, you know, the phone calls and who he has to talk to about getting this stuff on a boat and everything, but he does it all. So the following couple little clips are going to be loading up he already had an International tractor in the container when I got there that day. And it turns out, if you also pay attention, there are some drive sprockets laying on the floor of the container at the very end of the video. Those drive sprockets go to that first International tractor that's all the way in the front of the container. I was there to see him load the Rumley tractor in. That was a pretty cool old looking tractor. And then I got some video of putting the final tractor in, which is another International. And then we put that hit-and-miss engine in. Well, I guess technically that's I think that might be a throttle governed engine. I didn't look real closely at it. I know Grandpa's got a Fairbanks Morse Z 3 horsepower. His is throttle governed, so I don't know if the one we loaded up was throttle governed or hit and miss. But anyhow, we also, after I'd made that last little clip of video that you'll see, we went out to his office, he calls it, where he's got a lot of equipment sitting around behind the barn, and loaded up a plow and shoved in there. So it was pretty cool to see how it all went together. I'm hoping that next time he loads another container, maybe one of those that's really packed in there, I'd like to go over and see how he does that too. So I'll try to get some video if I ever do make it over there for that. I think that'd be really cool. I think some of you guys would probably get a kick out of that. But anyhow, if you got any questions or comments about you know, what's going on, go ahead and leave me a comment below, and I'll try to find out for you. And here comes the videos. Fairbanks Morse, model Z3 horsepower. This is an International tractor. I couldn't tell you what the model is. Those are the drive sprockets for the Rumley or the International in front of it. So this is International. This is a Rumley. And up there in the front is another International. And I couldn't tell you what these models are, but they're headed overseas. Well, that was it. That last picture you saw was the container sitting there at his dock. Now the container company will bring out a container and drop it at his place, and then they come back, you know, on a scheduled date to pick it up, and that gives him time to you know, load a load kind of at his leisure. You'd notice that one video clip, I was climbing on top of the tractors and you don't see too many straps. Well, we were mostly concerned with just getting everything in the container that day, and then he was coming back the next day to strap everything down good and secure. So I'd like to get some video of one of his more extensive loads where he really packs stuff in there, because I mean, I've seen a lot of his pictures of some of his odd loads, and he stacks, like, he'll hang a lawnmower off the ceiling so that he can get crap in underneath of it. It's amazing, some of the pictures. He'll take a tricycle tractor and back it into the container and then lift the front end of the tricycle tractor up off the ground so that he can park stuff under it. So I'd like to get some video of that, and I'm hoping one of those loads comes up here in the next month or so. So if you guys like this video, click that like button, click that subscribe button, you'll get to see that. And until the next video, guys, keep on tinkering.